A toon-hating detective is an idiotic rabbit's only hope to prove his innocence when he is accused of murder.
Hi, I'm Andre.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Luis.
And we are the Walt Vault, a family-friendly podcast where we get silly and talk about Disney movies. Welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 16.
Hey. Why did you pause like that?
Because it looked like you were going to say something.
I was just gazing lovingly at you,
okay.
starting off the podcast.
Well, thank
All
you,
right.
dear.
Murder.
Murder. We're going to talk about murder in the 1989 hybrid animated / live action film Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh.
Who done it? Who done it?
Who done it?
Who done it? I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm slightly sick. I have a tiny little.
He got
tiny
a
little
froggy
tickle in my
because
throat.
he's hosting a bunch of comedy shows this weekend.
Also, I was sick, so
That too.
that helped too.
I was just trying to make it sound better, but
Thank you.
Because sickness is not a good reason to have a froggy throat.
No,
no, not good
gotta
enough.
be a comedian. For
Not
this.
good enough.
Like Roger. Roger's a comedian. Roger was kind of
Yeah.
inspiring me.
His whole
during
goal
the
in
movie.
life was to make people laugh.
I just want to make people laugh. That was some good.
Oh, he
Roger
kind of
voice.
is a comedian. There you go.
Yeah,
Just like Andre.
He wears a bow tie. He's totally a comedian.
Do you ever wear
Is
a
that
bow
your
tie?
first in?
I've worn bow, never on
yes,
stage.
no.
Uh-huh.
When he
That's
was
what I thought.
here, he did.
But not when he was a comedian.
No.
No.
You should do a set as Fear.
Oh my god.
No? I think that'd be hilarious.
Guys, I'm just so scared. Or as Roger Rabbit.
That's
you
like
could,
a whole new set you gotta create pretty much.
Yeah, I'd have to write a
if you're
whole-
gonna dress
Andre's
up-
like, that's way too much
A
work.
lot of work.
if you're gonna dress up as him, you kind of have to have the entire set be fearful jokes.
Yeah,
You
I gotta
know
be
what I mean?
scared of everything.
Yeah.
Which should
Would be
too
funny.
hard. I'm kind of scared of stuff.
we can start with your first impression since you already kind of said.
Well, I was
Roger
gonna say.
inspiring you.
Yes.
Is that your first impression?
Yes. Yeah. First impressions. Very good. Very good movie. This is jolly good. I've seen this movie a fair amount of times in my life. I don't know how many, but I've always liked it. I like the animation interacting with the real world. That's
It's hilarious.
very, very cool and very, very funny to me.
It is very cool.
And I watched a documentary about this movie, and they did a lot of work to make that happen. So I was very impressed with Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Well, good.
Yes.
You know, you picked it for your birthday month.
I did.
So you go. I would hope you'd be impressed with it.
What are your first impressions?
This is the second time I have seen this movie. I watched it probably in high school because I remember we were going to Disneyland and I had ridden the ride the Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin, but never knew the movie it was based on. So I just watched it. Kind of like how Splash Mountain is Song of the South, yet I've yet to see that movie. So
I feel like most of us haven't, even though shout out to Brittany Volk. I'm pretty sure that's one of her favorite movies.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
one of our listeners really likes that movie. So I watched the movie so that I could understand the ride more and the concept of it. Like the line of that ride is very intricate. The ride itself is very intricate and fun. Kind of always has like a 45-minute to an hour wait. So I figured, okay, this is a movie I got to watch. And I do enjoy the movie. The only disconnect for me is that I didn't grow up on those
On Looney
kind
Tunes.
of on Looney Tunes, or just very silly, overdramatic, smack somebody on the top of the head with a hammer cartoons.
No Tom and Jerry for you.
No. So I don't enjoy that as much, but if I can like look past that, like this movie is great and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
What are your first impressions, Emily?
I would agree with you on that point. I was not like a slapstick type of comedy person growing up, but I saw this movie as an adult. And the first time it took a little getting used to, even though I thought it was hilarious. The second, third, fourth time now looking back, it is so great. It is a
very funny.
fantastic it's a fantastic merge between the two, animation and live action. But I also
Definitely.
really like the fact that it was put out under Touchstone, which is owned by Disney, because you get so much more going on in this movie than they could have ever done Disney alone.
for sure.
Or
For
Warner
sure.
Brothers alone or anything like
And
that.
for those of us listeners who are listening saying Roger Rabbit's not a Disney movie, there's a ride in Disneyland. There's a whole land in Disneyland. And we did do Nightmare Before Christmas was Touchstone. And you said you think that...
No, I lied. I don't think Hocus Pocus is now that I
but
said
Nightmare
that.
Before Christmas was.
Yes.
Yes.
We totally consider that Disney now.
And-
So Roger Rabbit, you Disney to me.
There are
You Disney to me.
There are Disney characters running around in this movie.
Yeah, like
So-
when Dumbo showed up, I was like,
Yes.
oh, Dumbo. That whole
Truth.
intro scene where they're just walking through the backstage and looking at all the characters, I was like so excited, like naming all of them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's the hippo from Fantasia. That's the ostrich from Fantasia.
Mm-hmm.
That's Dumbo. There's Snow White. It was great. I loved that.
Yeah, walking
Yeah.
around the back lot.
Luis, what's your first impression?
Luis, is your mic on, Luis?
Yes, it's on.
Oh.
Okay, so my thing with that is that I wasn't looking forward to seeing the movie just because when Ems watched it earlier that week, I
watched it
into
twice.
the back end of the movie, and that's the type of movie that you need to watch from the first second to the last second.
Oh, definitely.
And when I saw the back end of the movie, I was like, oh man, I don't want to watch this movie.
He walked in when Doom was already, like, spoiler alert, a toon, and he was, like, jumping on his little,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Which
springy
we're gonna have to
shoes.
talk about that later.
You
I'm
know,
real confused.
He was, like, jumping and springing through the warehouse, and
that's
Luis
not
was
the
like,
best
what
part.
in the world? And he's like, I remember this movie, but what happened here?
not
What's
the best
going
part to
on?
walk
Yeah.
in.
No, you can't just walk in because then you're like, why is that dude from?
Well,
Why is
yeah.
Doc jumping up and down, chasing after some
When
rabbit
you
thing?
actually watched it, the full run through though, did you like it better?
Yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Oh, okay.
You need to watch the movie from the very beginning to really appreciate it.
That's how most movies work, I think.
Yeah.
What, you can't watch him backwards?
Or
Well,
just
that's
start
not
it from
true.
the middle.
I like to just watch the ending scene of Titanic.
I only watched the first half of Fantasia and then I stopped. So I mean,
All right, I guess
Whatever
it doesn't
works,
apply to all
guys.
movies.
See?
Wow. We're learning.
So we kind of touched on how it was released under Touchstone.
look at you there
Yes.
making funnies.
It's very hard for me to speak today
Why?
because I don't know. I'm just very like tongue twisted, so I have
Oh.
to really think about my syllables.
Slillables.
My syllables.
Syllable.
But
Is it because you're drinking a mimosa?
that's true. It's Saturday. I'm celebrating.
Schlimosa.
Andre and I both just got work promotions, so we're kind of
Yeah.
celebrating as we're recording this.
Booyah.
Boom,
Ding.
killing it. So this movie came out in what year again?
1989.
We
88.
were-
Oh, excuse me.
1988.
It
Said
came out
89.
before Luis.
Before Luis.
Pre-Louise. This is a
Oh, this
pre-Louise
movie's older
movie.
than us. Okay. Toontown is a land in Disneyland, but we believe, did we confirm this, that it was built after this movie?
I don't think we confirmed that. Did we confirm
I was
that?
trying to confirm it, and honestly, everything that I came up with was pointing away from giving this movie credit for the land
Yes.
in Disneyland. Now, it is called Mickey's Toontown, and it is very nostalgic of the movie, especially on the right-hand side when you walk in where the Roger Rabbit ride is, where it has like all of the exploding things and
Yes.
the factory and whatnot.
Even the background, like the green rolling hills in the background, when they first zoom in to Toontown, you see those green rolling hills. And so that
Exactly.
was kind of the first thing I noticed that was reminiscent of the
Right.
movie. But I don't necessarily associate them except for the ride,
Yeah.
per se.
Okay, I have confirmation.
Confirmation.
The movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out June 22nd, 1988, and Mickey's Toontown at Disneyland opened June 18th, 1988.
So they opened at the same
Toontown
time.
opened like a couple of days before the movie came out.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
Interesting.
That's
So maybe
very
they
cool.
had kind of
Did they use it as like a
Developed it.
promoting technique?
Okay, wait.
Whoa,
wait.
hold on. Are you giving
Oh.
us
Corrections. No. Okay, so the thing is that Mickey's Toontown opened in Disney World in 1988.
That doesn't count.
It didn't open in Disneyland until 1993.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So about 5 years later.
Yes.
So probably then, and because we're not, experts on Disney
We're not
World,
Disney World people.
So maybe they kind of used it as a,
like
you
a
know.
promoting technique. I feel
Yeah.
like that's pretty cool.
It's a pretty
We're
good way
opening
to
a new
do it.
land and there's
they
a movie
you can tell
associated.
they definitely used the movie to kind of like inspire
Oh,
the
definitely.
land, but it is Mickey's Toontown, not Toontown, the city next to LA, where apparently a bunch of toons live, which I'm still
Is it not though?
I'm kind of dealing with that concept still in my mind. Like the fact that toons and humans interact is a little bit strange to me. And why did the toons
You
not...
go to Disneyland and you interact with people in a costume
That's
that we call
different.
characters.
They're humans under there. These are toons.
Which is weirder if you think about
It's
it.
not weird, okay? Some of them are even like real humans, like Ariel, you know? She's like
not
real
a human. She's a mermaid.
But she's a human at Disneyland.
Did you just say she's not a real human?
She is a real human.
Everybody's
I
a
said she
human
is a
at
human.
Disneyland. They're played by humans.
What?
Exactly what Louis said.
I don't buy
Anyways,
into this.
So
I'm really
my
confused
point
now.
was, my point being that I just forgot. What was I talking about?
You had a hard time interacting or seeing them interact.
So it was kind of weird to me, but I've also never really watched a movie that had a crossover besides Enchanted. But Enchanted kind of opened, like, it opened very cartoon and then it went to humans.
Yeah.
It wasn't really too much of a crossover. But this movie is very, like, the whole movie is crossed over. And my problem was that toons basically can't die. They like shoot each other and everything like this, and they can't die. How did the lawyer's brother die from a toon object? So toon objects can kill humans, but our human objects can't kill toons. That's not fair.
Well, no, it's not fair,
no,
but it's true.
So I can relate to Doom on that level, but
That's part of the.
You can relate to Doom on that level.
until I found out he was a toon, then it didn't make any sense. It's a little bit confusing.
I can relate to Doom. I can't believe this. No, but did he?
He's awful.
Like I get it was.
Did he get killed by a tune piano?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
They dropped it on his head.
Well,
which was hard because I was
They
trying not
didn't
to laugh.
specifically say it was a tune piano, but you got to assume because they were in
They were in
Toontown.
Toontown, so
That's true.
everything
Yeah.
in Toontown is toon. You
Yeah.
know,
Toony.
it's toony,
Looney.
loony toony.
Wait, Looney. Wait, Toony. Oh wait, never mind. Anyway, yeah. So the whole conceit of the movie, or not the whole conceit, but the conceit of the longevity of these tunes is that I guess they're drawn into life, and then
Yes.
Yeah, they were not birthed. They were drawn.
They were not birthed. They were drawn, and then they
Interesting.
can. Yeah, they can technically survive anything except for two things. They got the dip, which is all paint thinners. I read that.
Yes. Do you remember what they are? It's turpentine, benzine, and something else.
Acetone, I believe.
Acetone.
Yes.
And apparently those are the three things that animators use to wipe off cells when they're animating.
Yes.
So it's literally erasing them
Oh,
from
I like
animation.
that.
Isn't that
Which is
great?
which
Oh
is-
my god.
which
I
is
like
really
that a
cool.
lot.
So they can die by dip or by laughter. They can laugh themselves to death. Apparently,
Is that all of the tunes or just the weasels?
Do you think that's hyena and weasel like specific, or
I
do you
don't
think?
know.
I think that was weasel specific.
Yeah.
Because Doom was even like, remember what happened to the hyenas? I think like just the way they were drawn is like the ones that laugh in general, like weasels and hyenas.
They can
if they laugh too hard,
laugh
they
to
die,
death.
which is very comical to me. I was dying. It was very, very funny.
You were dying laughing as well.
I was dying
She also-
laughing.
An angel Michelle rose out of her body,
Yeah, it did.
flew into the sky.
With my
And then
little,
flew
my
back
little
in.
harp.
And it's funny when they die, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Speaking of
hilarious.
tunes dying, Luis, would you like to talk about the tune murder that we saw and how it was just like
The shoe?
NBD?
You guys witnessed a
Is
tune
this
murder?
the shoe?
Oh, yeah. What the heck was all that about? This guy's supposed to be a judge, but he's judge executioner, and jury? What
Oh,
the
yeah.
heck?
He said he like bought his way through the politics of Toontown, basically.
Right.
So
He had a lot of influence.
No. No.
I was gonna cry when he killed that.
Luis
shoe.
had a problem with that because we're sitting there watching,
Makes no
and the
sense.
police
You're not a judge.
commissioner
Let
is
him.
literally sitting there watching him, and he's like, "Bring me the dip," and then he dips this poor, cute little shoe.
because they have no jurisdiction over Toontown at all. It's like it's
But they
owned.
witnessed a murder.
Right, he's
Yeah.
there. He killed that tune. But I guess
So what? It's okay for a
Murder.
tune to kill. It's not okay for a tune to kill a human, but it's okay for a human to kill a tune.
I wonder if there's like different classifications of tunes, because like that tune was a shoe, right? And it had a little bit of personality. It was wobbling around.
It
and
was
it was
cute.
smiling
So
and
you're
stuff.
And
telling me
whimpering.
just
And
because he
whimpering.
wasn't human? That sounds
Listen,
Toonist.
I'm not he should be gone away for murder. But
Equality for the toon. Equality for the toon.
But I'm saying just in terms of them not prosecuting him right there and then, maybe because they all considered that shoe a lower class of toon.
R.I.P.
And wait a minute.
Wow.
What did that shoe do?
It didn't do anything.
real.
It just got out.
He just fell out of his box.
Someone knocked over the box. He got out of the box unwillingly and got murdered.
Dipped. And
R.I.P.
his brother's shoe
shoe.
is just alone somewhere.
You were the realist.
I didn't even think about the other.
The other
That was the
shoe.
one moment where I kind of wanted to cry, honestly. I was like, no, the shoe. Like, I get it's supposed to be comical, but it wasn't that comical.
No, it wasn't funny. It was sad.
But the part that the other murder that I did think was comical, okay, I get,
The other funniest murder is
I get that they were in Toontown and someone was robbing a bank or something like that, and they dropped it on his brother's head. The lawyer. What are they? Valiant and Valiant?
They're not lawyers. They're private detectives.
Okay, well, one Valiant got murdered by a toon.
no wonder I was confused.
Just
Like,
the way
lawyers.
that they talk about it, where they're like, you didn't hear what happened to his brother? And he's like, no. Like, when he's talking to Roger Rabbit about it, he's like, well, something happened, and then dropped it on my brother's head, and he's dead. And Roger's like, no wonder you hate me. Like, I understand that that's kind of supposed to be like, oh, he got murdered that way, but it's kind of freaking funny.
I mean, yeah, getting a piano dropped in your head. It's not
really that funny though.
not a common occurrence.
Not a good way to die, but you
Musical
know,
way to die.
It's a musical.
musical way to die.
So as your soul's departing your body, that's the sound that comes out from
Yeah.
the piano in the background.
Luis, you usually have a lot to say about character development. How do you feel about Valiant's development from hating tunes to be like, all right, tunes are cool?
I didn't like when he kissed Roger Rabbit in the end. That was flat out.
He
dumb.
got his sense of humor back, and he realized
No.
that kissing this little rabbit would be
That's
the
one
funniest
thing I
thing he
hate
could do.
about tunes. Why does kissing somebody in the lips supposed to be funny?
It is
That's
funny
disgusting.
in the tune world.
That's disgusting unless it's your wife
It's disgusting unless it's your
or your
wife.
significant other.
Is it just as disgusting as that baby?
What baby? Baby Herman?
Baby Herman.
Baby Herman was gross.
He was
Baby
hilarious.
wasn't.
Herman is a very funny
He was more
baby.
gross to me than the kissing.
I feel like we can't really talk about Baby Herman until our
After
after show.
Yeah, you guys got to become patrons to hear us talk about
That
Baby
is true,
Herman.
though.
But you know, it's funny because I feel like Eddie Valiant is Luis and Luis is Eddie Valiant because Luis is like, oh, these tunes are so stupid. And then, you know, Valiant's like, these tunes are so stupid.
But
And
then
as it went
Valiant
on.
liked him at the end. So, Luis, did you like the tunes at the end, or were you like, they could have got dipped?
No, I never really had a
They
thing
coulda
against
got
the
dipped.
tunes.
Right.
So no,
Yeah, but they didn't annoy you.
no, they didn't annoy me.
Oh, okay.
They're
Okay.
tunes. What do you
Yeah.
expect?
Let's
I mean,
let's do a tune vote. Who was your favorite tune,
Tune
everybody? I got to think about this.
Favorite
I actually have
tune.
quite a few favorite
There's
tunes.
a lot of tunes. Okay, so if we think about just that scene where they're backstage, I like the moment where who's the boss of the tune? The one that
Marvin Acme?
no, the other one. He got murdered
Maroon.
too. Maroon. Okay,
RK Maroon. JK.
RK Maroon.
I don't
think
know.
you're right.
Maroon.
Okay, so Maroon was very excited that he had rented some of the Fantasia and Disney people from Walt Disney, and he just threw Dumbo peanuts. He's like, the best part is they work for peanuts.
They work for peanuts. Yeah, apparently cartoons are like lower class citizens, and they don't
And there
get
was
paid.
there was a lot of cartoons in that scene. Like I saw Dumbo, Snow White. There was some Looney Tunes ones that I don't necessarily know their names. There was ones that were so short that you didn't actually see them, but you just saw like their little medieval things.
Yes, it was like the
those,
little.
Those guys are from either the Black Cauldron or Sleeping Beauty, I think.
Yeah.
They're those little
Okay.
honky tonk minion guys.
That's hilarious. And like that same scene, I loved how you heard like the Fantasia in the background. You heard the
Yeah. When
da-na-na-na-na-na.
the brooms
they
were sweeping and the guy playing
Next,
the sax was playing
he
that
was
song.
playing the sax, but then there
Yes.
was also a real janitor next to him, like sweeping with
Yes,
them.
it
Oh
was
my!
hilarious.
Oh, they were doing menial labor.
Yeah,
They were.
a lot of menial labor.
I think who's my favorite tune? Oh, okay, I know my favorite tune. My favorite tune is Benny.
Tell him
Benny
who
the
Benny
Cab.
is.
Benny is the cab. What did he say he got put in the back seat for?
Driving on the sidewalk for 2 miles.
Driving on the sidewalk for 2 miles.
He's like, it was only 2 miles.
I love Benny. His character is hilarious. Just his personality, like everything that comes out of his mouth made me laugh.
I've been a cab for 36 years and I never seen nothing like this. I'm like, oh, have you now?
So funny. And I like how when they get out of the car at Toontown, he's like, if you need me, just stick out your thumb. And I didn't think about it as like hitchhiking, but then Valiant at the end is, well, they're trying to escape, him and Jessica Rabbit. And he's like, wait, this way. And he just puts out his thumb and Betty comes.
Betty shows
I
up.
wish I had like just a service like
It's
that.
like the
And
night
just-
bus.
You know what's really
Oh.
funny? It is like the
You
night
do
bus.
have a service. It's called Uber, and you use your thumb to access it on your phone.
Yeah,
Boom.
whatever. It's not
Stick
the
out
same.
your thumb
It's
and
not as
tap it a couple
comical and
times.
nice.
It's not as
Benny.
comical, but was one of my other favorite Disney movies, which I know people are going to be like, Emily, shut your mouth. Halloween Town,
Uh-huh.
right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, it's a good movie.
That's a
Oh, yeah, that had the cab driver
The
as a
cab driver,
skeleton.
and it wasn't his name Benny.
Oh my god!
I'm just saying. I'm just
Well,
saying.
Benny is my favorite tune.
He was my favorite character in that movie. That's what he makes me think of.
Fun
Anyway,
fact about Benny, he's voiced by Charles Fleischer, who is also the voice of Roger Rabbit.
Interesting.
you want to know an interesting fact about that gentleman?
Yes.
Apparently, every time he was doing Roger's lines, he was like dressed in a full Roger Rabbit costume.
Oh my
He had
god!
the ears, he had the bow tie, he had the overalls.
He was getting
doing
into
it.
character, you know,
Yeah,
Yes. So he was
straight up.
straight.
So I watched the documentary about this movie, and so he was literally like just they would rehearse the lines with him on the set, and then he would get off the set and just like shout his lines, off camera. And because so the way that they filmed this movie is they filmed all the live action stuff first. They did they filmed the whole movie in live action straight up. All the the special effects people had to create machines to move everything around that all the animated characters are going to touch and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
It was a
Wow.
it was a crazy amount
So
of
they
work.
literally made like 2 movies.
And then, yes, they literally made 2 movies because after they filmed all of that, then they went back in and animated in Roger and Benny and all the other
That's
animated
Oh
crazy.
characters
my god!
on top of the live action stuff.
Well,
I
good
have
for
a
them.
lot of respect for that because that has got to be so difficult, not only for the actors but for the animators both.
Yes.
Like to just have to imagine that I'm talking to Roger Rabbit right now, but he's not really in front of me. Just think about eye contact, like where
Oh,
you're supposed
yeah.
to look,
Yeah.
things like that.
They had to do
What?
a lot of work with that. They had like these little like rubber puppets that they would use in like the first take so that the actors could line up their eyesight with it, and then they
Interesting.
take that away, and he had to just remember where the eye line was.
Oh my
and
gosh!
follow it through.
Well,
Lots
it's
of
funny
respect.
too because I really did pay attention to that while I was watching it this time because, like Luis gave away, I may or may not have watched this twice. But the first time, I watched it for enjoyment, and then the second time, I knew we were going to do it for the show, and I thought, you know what, I'm really going to pay attention to how well that those 2 things line up.
Yes.
And there's very few moments where you're like, like maybe it was like a second off or something was
not
it
bad.
was so well done,
Yes.
especially for the time period where you can imagine it. They didn't have what we have
The
now.
80s?
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, there's no CG. This movie, by the way, there's none of this animation was done on computers at all. It was all hand drawn,
you gotta love
Wow.
which is it was a crazy
It's
amount
like
of work.
technically a classic, but like a newer classic.
And it's revolutionary because most other hybrid animation and live action movies before this, what they would do is they would kind of have like a static background, right, that they would either draw on top of or whatever and have the animated characters back there, and then the live action people will be in the foreground, and it was very still and easy to do. Like I was looking at clips from Mary Poppins,
Yep.
and they're kind of just standing there dancing, and the animated characters are in the background dancing,
and you can
But
tell that
that's-
it's almost
all
like
that's happening.
foreground and background together. And the only time they really do a lot of action is when it's one or the other. Like
Right.
they'll go to a next scene and then the animated characters will be doing their thing and then they'll go back
Yeah.
and forth.
Yes. So this movie is super revolutionary because it has all of the animated characters interacting with live action things. And
The whole time.
The whole time.
The whole movie.
And like if you just sit and take a look, like having Roger take a drink of whiskey or whatever, shoot up through the wall, fall down, bounce on the desk, have all the things on the desk move, and then have him jump out of the window and make a Roger-sized hole in the window. Like all of that had to be done without the animation at first. So it's just an imaginary mystical.
They had to really
Like Eddie
think it
Valiant had to
through.
watch his eyesight had to go up into
Up,
the ceiling,
come
down,
down.
watch stuff shake, go out the window. It's just
Yes.
you just have to appreciate the
Yeah.
amount of work that took.
That's
Yes.
crazy.
I think this
I love
movie
it.
took like 3 or 4 years to.
Oh, I'm
Freaking
sure it
doubt
did.
to get
I'm
made.
sure it did.
Yeah, it's.
Who's
crazy
your
how
favorite
it
tune, Andre?
works. My favorite tune.
Do you have to save it for the after show?
Wait.
When I was 14, it was Jessica Rabbit.
Hey, hold on. So you are okay.
We can say it.
But I lost. Is he starting off with the favorite tune, or did you already say yours, Michelle?
Michelle
I said
already
mine.
said hers.
Mine is
Was
Benny. He did a little sidebar on the animation, so we're back to
Oh.
who
Yeah.
our favorite tune is.
Ah,
If you
I got
don't,
lost.
if you don't want to
It's okay, Baba.
explain it until the after show, that's fine. Just
Do you have
name it.
Do you have a favorite?
tune? But Andre was just about to say his.
Yeah,
All right,
well,
who
I'm
is
still thinking. If it's
You
not
got-
Jessica Rabbit.
Well, I got this.
Okay, you
think
go.
away.
Yeah,
You think
go
away.
ahead.
Honestly, and this is where Roger, he was awesome.
Roger,
I
yeah.
really liked Roger because he is such an idiot.
He is a
Oh,
freaking idiot.
Okay, there's a difference. Okay, for those of you who think what he likes him,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't like idiotic people. There's a difference. Okay, Roger can't help that he's an idiot.
He was drawn that
He
way.
was
He was drawn that way. For
like
sure.
the scene where Doc Octavius comes and he's like banging on the on the bar.
He was doing two.
Yeah,
He was doing
And
the
the
shave
haircut.
cut.
Yeah, but before
So
that,
funny.
there's a scene where he's in the in the hideout and he's like trying
He's
so hard.
trembling. He's like,
He's trying so hard not to go out, but then he's such an idiot. He ends up going out, and then
he has to.
And then when Valiant is trying to give him his last drink so he can, pop up, he's like, "No, I don't want this drink." He's like,
Yes,
"Take
you
it."
do.
No, I don't. Take it. And then he starts getting angry, like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "Yes, you do." Like,
He reverse
yes,
psychology
I do. He's like, "Yes, I do." And he drinks
And
it.
he
in.
drinks it.
Oh, he's such an idiot.
he literally reverse psychology did him. He was like, "You don't want it." He's like, "Yes, I do." Because I also say they're drawn that way, but their personalities are also drawn that way.
Oh,
technically,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The
So I can
personalities
appreciate that you like him,
they're,
Luis.
they're drawn in.
What about did you think of yours, Andre?
Yeah, and it's Baby Herman.
Baby
Herman is so funny to me.
He's so funny.
just an adult an adult man who lives in a baby's body
That's
is
awful.
it's
He
it's
was my least favorite.
it's terrible, but it's also so funny. Like, because they have the whole opening scene, which is all animated, and it's very fun. It's straight up like a Tom and Jerry sketch. And then as soon as they roll cut, Baby Herman just goes off. He's like, "Oh my God, Roger, get your lines right. What's wrong with you?"
His voice. Ugh.
And he's always smoking a stogie.
Ridiculous.
When he drops his stogie when he was in the baby carriage, he starts crying and it's
like
so
a baby.
My stogie.
Andre, are you sure you weren't in this movie? That was great.
I'm pretty sure
Yes.
that you were Baby Herman.
He was Baby
I
Herman.
was Baby Herman. I was born in '91, but I still
Who's
managed
yours
to-
then?
I would say honestly, I really liked for a cameo part. I liked Betty Boop.
Oh yeah,
Because I thought
You
she was
did?
so cute.
Mhm.
Not so much that I actually don't know much about Miss Boop,
Right.
or
I
and I've
don't
never
either.
seen like
Miss
the commercials. Excuse me, like any
Boop, boop,
sketches
de-doop.
with her. But I thought that she was so cute how she interacted with Eddie Valiant,
Yes.
and how she was like, "I still got it, Eddie," and he's like, "Yeah, you do." It was just so cute.
That was
I
cute.
really
was like,
enjoyed that.
Did they used to date? What is
I know.
happening?
I'm pretty sure they freaking dated.
They might have.
But you know who my favorite couple of tunes were the stupid, oh my God, the bullets
The
in
bullet.
the gun.
Yes.
So Eddie Valiant pulls out a gun that he got from Yosemite Sam.
Yes.
No, was it Yosemite
It was
Sam?
Yosemite Sam.
He got
Hilarious.
a gun from Yosemite Sam, and so this gun is huge, and animated,
Huge cartoon
right?
gun.
And he opens it up, and the bullets are all different types of warriors.
They're like
Yes.
sleeping.
And they're like, "Oh, Eddie Valiant, I haven't seen you in 5 years past the moon and a dog or something." And then they all
Hilarious.
jump in the gun,
Yes.
and he shoots one off, and it's like a Native American with a
Yes.
tomahawk.
It's like,
and
Tomahawks the thing.
like trying to get the glass that he through his alcohol.
Oh my gosh.
That's when he
Just
quits
hilarious.
drinking.
Yeah, see? That's he cut the habit.
Yeah.
But it's just I
Too
think
funny.
that the bullets are really funny because he shoots them off later and they're funny again.
Yes.
It's
Um,
very funny.
Very
Yeah, that was.
unuseful. Like not
Yeah.
did not do what they were needed
I
to
liked
do.
that a lot. I also just liked,
I was
liked the
impressed.
subtle things. Like I liked that in the bar, the penguins were the waiters, like
Yes.
on Mary Poppins. And I actually really, really loved the scene between Donald Duck and Daffy Duck
Daffy,
when
yes.
they're playing
They're
the
battling
pianos.
the pianos.
I remember watching my mom. Shout out to my mom. My mom
Brenda.
absolutely loves Donald Duck.
Yes, her
but
name is Mom.
Brenda Hurst.
Thank you.
Okay. She loves Donald Duck. He's her favorite, but she hates when he's mad. And I love when he's mad.
He's hilarious.
I
Yes.
love when he's mad. And all of those old cartoons growing
He's
up
always
where
mad.
he's so mad. And I was like, oh, he's going to get mad. He's going to get mad. And he did, and I loved it.
Well, you know-
Donald Duck is awesome when you get.
He's
Yes.
hilarious. Well, and I think one of the best parts of that kind of segues into the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about is that they are considered main characters in the Disney property, right? So,
Oh.
well, excuse me, in their respective
yeah,
properties.
for sure.
But Donald Duck is a main character, and so is Daffy. And so when this whole movie was coming into fruition, Warner Brothers, knowing that Disney was going to be a part of it, kind of, I'm not going to say they threw a fit, but they were like, we need the same amount of screen time as Disney characters
Yes.
because this is a joint movie,
Yeah.
right? And I actually appreciate that because when you take a look at this movie and you really think about it in this way, anytime there's main characters on the screen like Donald and Daffy, or later on there's Mickey and Buzz,
Make it buzz.
Bugs,
Bugs
not
Bunny.
Buzz. When you see them both, they're always together and they're on screen for the same amount of
The
frames.
exact same
And
amount of
same
time.
also as the scene where Goofy, like, you know how Roger Rabbit respects Goofy so much. They all
Yes.
do. They're like, Goof is the best.
Yes.
He's a great actor.
at
He's
his
a classic.
timing.
But Roger and Goofy are on the same amount of time during
Exactly.
that scene too.
So I think that's really cool because they paid so much attention to that, probably for royalties and rights and all of that type of
Yes.
stuff. But at the same time, it showed you kind of the juxtaposition of characters, but also how, you know, it's so that's the one time that you want to see like Donald Duck and Daffy Duck battling it out. It's
Right.
hilarious.
It was great.
It's a crossover.
That was my,
It's
my
the crossover you
yeah.
always wish that they would
my
actually make.
favorite crossover scene was that one with the piano battle. Because to me, a piano just seems like a classic cartoon thing to me in general. Like
Oh, yeah.
the piano as an object itself, it's being dropped from the sky. It's always hanging from buildings.
It's killing
Something's-
people's brothers.
Something's always happening with the piano, and to me, that was the best crossover scene. I really appreciated that.
I absolutely loved when Daffy's like, "This is the last time I work with someone with a speech impediment." And you're like,
Oh my god, I love it.
and then Marvin Acme starts laughing and he's like, "I love those ducks. They never get to finish their set."
He puts a literal meaning to dueling pianos.
Yes.
Oh.
Literal meaning.
I
Oh
love
my
me some
gosh.
real dueling pianos, but this is on another level.
So funny.
One of my favorite scenes is also in that, or one of my favorite parts is also in that scene when Valiant asks for scotch on the rocks.
I mean ice.
And the penguins bring him actual rocks. Not
He
ice.
even tells them he's on not actual rocks this time, and they did it
And
anyway.
they brought him rocks.
No, I think he said, "And I mean ice,"
I mean
and then here
ice.
comes the rocks
They
in the
still
cup.
Brought rocks.
So funny.
And I think he drank it. He's like scotch
He
with.
did lick his fingers.
Like, come on, Valiant. If you're gonna tell them actual ice, just say
yeah, just say
With
I want
ice.
ice.
Scotch over ice, please.
Yeah.
Well, you can't even say that because they might
No.
bring like scotch and then another cup and then a cup of ice. See, you have to be real specific with these tunes.
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 So funny. I want to make a comparison. I was looking through Andre's notes, and he said, I was thinking in my head, like, this must be the first movie, like, technically it's not Disney, but Disney movie where it's like a crime comedy. And then I think about Zootopia, which is totally
Right.
a crime
Yes.
comedy.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
very similar themes in the way that they write things.
Oh, yeah.
But this one seems so much more comical to me, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But like that whole crime comedy, usually I'm not into crime stuff at all.
super
Like, I
into
don't
crime
like
stuff.
CSI. I don't like anything like that.
Because
But
you're ridiculous.
I
This
know,
is
whatever.
great.
But this to
And
me,
totally
like,
overdone.
the crime aspect of it, like that they're trying to find Roger Rabbit for murder.
Oh, yeah.
is so funny.
Well, and the fact that like they literally are talking about murder and
Yes.
who killed him. It's very
Yes.
specific.
a
It's not
very-
like
It's
they
a very classic noir story.
it's a whodunit movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't bounce around the fact that like someone died. You literally see people get shot.
Yes.
You
The
see people getting
outline of
tortured.
Oh, man.
Acme on the ground.
Oh yeah.
There's the scene where like Valiant goes to visit Maroon, and he pretends to have the will, and then Maroon is in there. He's all cagey. He's got his gun out and stuff like that. And then he starts like confessing that it wasn't really him or whatever. And then he gets shot in the back with that big old long
Shot.
gun.
Straight up shot.
Shot.
in the back.
That
Dead.
wasn't subtle at all. I was
Hey.
like, he did.
Andre, speaking of noir, did you ever play that LA Noir game?
Yes, the game where like you have to be a detective and
Yeah,
you have to
solve
you
a
have to,
murder.
like, judge people's
Yeah.
faces and stuff in a video game, which is to see if they're lying and stuff like that.
On really
it's very
crappy
fun.
CGI.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty much Roger Rabbit. Is what it is.
Can you imagine trying to look at facial expressions on a tune?
Right, yeah, like
did
what-
you kill him? Hi. I don't know. I don't know.
It was just drawn that way.
I know. I was drawn with like, I don't know. I look guilty all the time.
Right.
I just got angry eyebrows.
I think if there was a song that was I was drawn that way, Lady Gaga would rock it.
I was drawn that way.
Drawn that way. What song?
I'm beautiful in my way because I was drawn this way. Whatever.
How does the song go? The one that they're singing in Toontown.
Smile, darn ya, smile.
That makes me want to throw up.
He
Stop.
was singing the whole thing.
It's so awful.
It is awful.
about a great world
liked
after
Do you want to know another awful thing? Doom. Doom is awful.
You
Okay.
just said that you
Judge
could like
Doom.
Okay, well, now he's awful.
sympathize with him or something.
You know, I'm a psychology major. I always give the villains the benefit of the doubt. I try to relate to them. But you want to know why he's awful? Because
Those
I
creepy
couldn't
eyes?
figure out if he was a toon inside a human costume
Oh, I
or
haven't.
what.
Right.
What is he?
I'm not sure what his.
Discuss
Disgust.
while I fill up my mimosa.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm
no.
not sure what his deal was. Like obviously
The eyeballs pop out.
yes, his eyeballs pop out. But is there another face underneath his human face? And how did he get his human face in the first place? If he's
I hope.
Toon.
I'm going to say that I hope that there is a face under that face because it is so literally
it's unnerving.
It's so unnerving when they when he gets squished.
It has to be the creepiest thing I've ever
Actually,
seen. in my
that
life.
whole sequence is disgusting. I remember
whole
the first
scene.
time I watched it, and he's getting run over, and I thought to myself, like, is this going to be
And
like a
he's like,
Kill Bill, like where blood goes
yeah.
everywhere? So you see him getting like run over, and his body's shaking, which is scary, and he's like,
Yes.
right, and then. You see him flattening out, and then his body curls up like a uncrinkled piece of paper, and
And
it's
he's
rolling.
just like Flat Stanley up in there.
Yeah.
You ever read those children's books? Flat Stanley.
Then he stands up and walks over to the helium tank, fills himself up, and he pops back into position.
Turns around and his eyes are just blazing red.
Which is very creepy for a human body to be able to do.
And
It's
you know
disgusting.
what? I'm going to answer my own question. When he melted, when he got dipped,
Yeah.
remember all the toons came and they were staring at it on the floor? They were like, ugh. It had the human face mask. Like the mask
Right,
was
the
on
mask
the
was
floor.
still
that
there
didn't melt.
because it
so
wasn't
I'm going to say
cartoon.
he was a toon
Inside of a human body.
uniform.
Right.
Because for some reason he had a problem with tunes and
Yeah,
wanted
you know how
to
we
dip
needed
them.
backstory on Dr. Facilier? I need some backstory on Doom. I
I
don't
did-
understand what his deal is. Was he drawn that way?
Well, yeah,
Could've been drawn
I assume
villain.
he was drawn evil, but his whole thing was that he was.
He wanted to monopolize on this freaking freeway.
Yes, he wanted the money from from starting a freeway and destroying Toontown to do it, because I guess he didn't care about any of the other tunes.
So,
any of their problems.
yeah.
That's so awful.
The
Or,
the
you
whole
know, as
freeway
Valiant
idea
says,
is hilarious to me.
Who needs a car in LA? We got the best public transportation
We got the
system in
best
the world.
public transportation system in the world.
Which was so cute. Who needs a car in LA? And I'm thinking like,
oh, everyone.
everyone. There's
All
so
like
many
4
cars.
million
Hilarious.
people
Like
that
that
live
joke
there.
will always hold up. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Michelle, tell
Until
us
they
about
destroy
that
the
red
freeways.
car trolley.
Okay, yeah. So the red car trolley is the trolleys they're driving. That's their public transportation system. If you have frequented California Adventure, you can ride the red car trolley, and it is the same trolley from this movie because this trolley was going down Buena Vista Street in the movie, and you ride the red car trolley in California Adventure down Buena Vista Street. Boom.
Boom. I have another fun fact about the
I know.
car trolley.
I looked it up, and that was right. That was another one. You know how
I looked it up and it was right.
I guessed it myself. I was like, that looks like the trolley. And then I had to Google it right away. And I was right.
So the whole Toon's plan to dismantle the red car trolley was based on like a real thing. Like private corporations, they wanted to eliminate the public transportation system in LA in the 40s to generate demand for more cars and more freeways and all the other industries to keep cars running. And they succeeded.
Yep. They succeeded hardcore, right?
Very hardcore. Goodness
did.
gracious. Yeah. So,
You know what I think it's time for?
what is it time for?
Ba-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. I can't do the song very well.
Oh, is this Lou? Oh, we're going into Rocky?
I made up my own song. Luis's Battle.
Battle.
Of history.
Alrighty then, ladies and gents, for this week's battle. In the red corner, you have the Weasels
The red
from
corner.
Roger Rabbit.
The
In the
Weasels.
blue corner, you have their cousins, the hyenas from the Lion King. Now, who was a better set of henchmen?
So
Ready?
this is...
Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh, my God. This is so funny because in the movie, Doom was like, remember what happened to your cousins, the hyenas, when they were laughing? Because apparently if you're drawn to laugh like that, you can laugh yourself to
Laugh
death.
yourself to death.
So they
Well, let's
actually are
pick-
cousins.
Honestly, I think we need to start with picking these characters apart because here is the deal with the Weasels.
There's 5 weasels or
There-
6?
There's 5 Weasels.
Yes, 5.
Each of them has a very specific personality.
One wears a straight jacket.
One is crazy.
His name is Psycho.
His name is Psycho. One literally has a name that I can't say on the podcast. His name is Smart Butt. He's wearing like is he the green zoot suit?
I think he's the
Or the pink zoot
I think
suit.
he's the pink zoot suit.
There's a pink zoot suit. There's a green zoot suit.
I think his name is Greasy.
Greasy, which I don't want to get into interpretations of that. There's a guy with like a baseball bat who really looks like Briar Bear.
I believe his name is just Stupid.
Stupid. And the last one, Andre, share.
Or
was there 5?
I don't know
Was
what
that
the last
5?
one is. I can't find it.
Well, point being, originally there was supposed to be 7 weasels,
Right.
and they were going
Okay.
to like mirror the 7 dwarves.
dwarves.
But
Oh,
but
did Disney
apparently-
say no.
no, it wasn't Disney. Apparently, it just took so much time to animate.
It would have been too much.
They literally were like, we don't have time to add 2 more weasels.
Okay, that
Right.
would have been funny though.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But they have the 5 and they're all pretty stupid. But they're good henchmen in their role. Like they do
Sure.
what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They get the job
They
done.
get stuff done for the most part, right? I like that they carry real guns.
That's what I was
Great.
gonna
They don't
say.
have toon guns. They have real live action guns.
See, and I think
True.
that answers your question from earlier about like, did toon objects kill like? Well, actually, no, it doesn't because I was
Doesn't.
gonna say like
They
they're
still
gonna-
have to use a human object.
Right.
Maybe because they were just given it by Doom.
Doom's like, here, take a gun.
Yeah, take
Yeah.
guns.
Interesting.
The hyenas from the Lion King. How good of henchmen are they? They started the wildebeest.
They killed
stampede.
Mufasa.
They killed Mufasa, technically. Yeah, they got that done. They didn't kill Simba like they were supposed to. And then
Because Ed is stupid.
well-
But they're stupid. They're stupid weasels too. So
Well,
pretty
yeah.
apparently runs in that family.
right.
yeah, the bloodline of cousinry. I don't know.
The bloodline of cousinry.
I appreciate that.
Equally stupid, but who are the better henchmen? I'm going to go with.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
I'm going to go with the hyenas because they didn't laugh themselves to death. They're still living. The other
That
ones
was-
managed to
That
get
was
themselves
probably the
killed.
most incompetent thing that they could do was just laugh themselves to death in the middle of a job. Like, what are you guys doing?
You're not even gonna get paid for this if you're dead.
So therefore, I'm going with the hyenas just because they're the only ones still alive.
That's a great.
True.
That's great. I love
And
it.
actually, the hyenas end up turning on Scar at the end of the Lion King.
Hey.
Hmm.
So they
Does
don't
that make
actually
them good
Whatever.
henchmen or
They're
bad
still
henchmen?
kicking.
in the line of being alive, they win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they win. Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna pick the weasels because they die in the line of duty. You know, they're
They
doing their jobs, and
they were loyal to the end.
they're loyal to the very end. Whereas the hyenas, you know, they turned on Scar. They weren't great henchmen.
So funny. This is a great battle. Okay. What are your thoughts, Emily?
I have no idea.
She's dying laughing. Maybe that's where that saying came from. I'm dying of laughter.
Yeah, seriously, I think I'm a weasel right now because dying in the line of duty is
bloodline
They're
of
like
cousinry.
they're like the henchmen Marines. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Okay. I also would say probably the weasels. Only because to me they fit that henchman mentality. They are henchy.
True.
And sometimes, and I mean this in the nicest way, but sometimes henchmen are like they're the stupid cousins, you know, like they're not very, they don't know how to do things on their own, and I feel like the weasels don't.
Right.
They just do whatever Doom
need
says.
that direction from Doom.
So I appreciate that. I really like them.
It's very
weasels.
henchy.
The henchies.
What about you, Lou? Hyenas or weasels?
I just can't get over it. I'm
I
still
will
laughing.
go with the weasels because they were pretty. They did their job very well, if you ask me.
Yeah.
The main one, man, I would not want to mess with that guy. You know,
smart butt.
Creepy.
They were creepy, but you know what? They got the job
You're gonna tell me
done.
the one in the straight jacket that was holding a straight razor wasn't scary?
No, he was just crazy.
Luis legitimately did the when he saw that on screen. He's trying to act like a macho man right
I
now.
don't remember that.
He
blocked it out.
It was so scary he blocked it out.
You know, want to know when when Doom melted like the Wicked Witch of the West. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I literally was like,
Yeah, he was.
I know.
He was melting.
I said it out loud and then he said
So
it and I was
did
like, that's right.
I said that out loud too.
Yeah.
All right, so our weasels are our winner this
Our
week.
weasels are our winners.
Weasels are our winners.
Weasels are the winners.
Do you want some other good trivia from this movie? I'm sure
Yes.
Andre has a whole
Of course.
bunch.
I have a couple as well. Yes.
So apparently this movie actually is based on a book, which I really
Oh yes,
appreciate.
that's right.
This movie is
What?
based on a 1981 novel called Who Censored Roger Rabbit.
I'm gonna have to read this.
Yes. And I don't think, I mean, there's similarities, but it's not as
Funny.
fun as it is the movie is.
The book is more based on like comic strips, cartoons kind of things. And so like all the tunes in the book, they have talking bubbles that go above their heads and
Yes.
stuff like that, and that's how they speak.
So it's like they're less realistic, like they're not in the real world like our
Right.
tunes are.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing. So Who Censored Roger Rabbit? The book has a question mark in the title, right? Who censored Roger Rabbit? This movie, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, is a question, right? But there's no question mark in the title.
No.
And apparently that's like a thing in the
movies, I
in the
guess.
biz. It's like bad luck to put a
question
question
mark.
mark in your title.
Your title.
Oh, I never knew that.
So whenever you
Interesting.
see it, it's always just Who Framed Roger Rabbit as a statement versus a question.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who framed him?
Interesting.
Another thing, does everyone know who Tim Curry is?
Yes.
Okay, I know Andre does, but I
Jeff
feel like
Curry
most-
with a sharp.
so this
Oh, I was
is
kidding.
this is Tim Curry.
Okay,
Curry,
gotcha.
he's
So-
he's the dad in the Wild Thornberries.
Oh
But
my
not the
God.
nose. He's not the nose. Well, I mean, I guess he is playing the nose.
Yes.
But I always think of him as being the main pirate, like the live action pirate in the Muppets Treasure Island,
Yes.
which was one of my favorite movies growing up. Anywho, apparently Tim Curry auditioned for the role of Judge Doom, but he literally was told no because he was too scary.
Too terrifying.
They were like,
Too
he was
terrifying?
way too terrifying, and it freaked people out. So they were like, no, not
Curry's
you.
a scary
But
dude.
Judge Doom is already super terrifying. How can you get more?
Do you want to know why he's terrifying? It's
Why?
because he doesn't blink.
He literally, in every shot
What?
that he's in, Christopher Lloyd, who plays Judge Doom, he made it a point to not blink because his human eyes are technically fake, right?
What?
So so he goes around just not blinking underneath those big old glasses things that he wears.
O-M-G.
Right?
He's a scary man.
Does
now
that-
I understand it. You need to blink, people. It's creepy if you don't.
Hey, people out
Please
there,
blink.
public service announcement, please blink.
Ugh.
So
over
I
here
thought
not
that those were
blinking.
some fun ones because those
That's
are
very cool.
it's like you knew it was
Interesting.
creepy, but you didn't know why it was creepy.
Now I know why. I appreciate that. Andre, you got some fun facts
Yes.
for us?
So there is a. Hang on, let me just find it real quick.
Ooh, I have another one. Sorry.
There is a. Oh, go ahead while I look for this.
One of the when you're going into the Ink and Paint Club, when Eddie Valiant's walking in, he goes up to the door and he has to say a password. Do you remember what the password was?
Walt Disney sent me.
It was
Walt sent me. Yes.
it was Walt sent me, and they say, right, the internet peoples say that is obviously supposed to be an homage to Disney sent me,
Yeah.
so you can be let in,
Right.
which I thought that was really cute because
I actually really liked that too.
they don't ever say like Walt Disney in it, even though they talk about Marvin Acme. I doubt that the guy's name is Marvin
I don't think
Acme,
he's an
who
actual
does Warner
person.
Brothers, but it was like he was the main man for the tune, so it was cool that they brought in Walt's name as well.
Yes.
Yes, I did like that.
Okay, I found my fact. I have a couple Mickey facts. So there's a hidden Mickey in this movie.
Mickey, what?
When Eddie Valiant is starting to become funny at the very end, and he's trying to distract Doom, stuff like that. He starts to juggle those three bombs.
The best part
And
of the whole
when
movie.
he's just holding those bombs, they're very Mickey shaped.
Ah,
Hidden Mickey. Another
like
Mickey
it.
fact. Okay, so when panning over the newspaper articles on Eddie's desk, there's a whole montage that kind of shows his entire
Oh
life.
my gosh, yes, I read
Of the
these.
past cases. He and his one of the headlines on those newspapers says Mayor Mouse awards something to Toontown. So I think Mickey Mouse is the mayor of Toontown.
That makes sense. It's Mickey's Toontown.
Which
Yes.
he is mayor of Mickey's Toontown
Yeah,
in
he is.
his
Right.
own Toontown.
So Mickey's the mayor.
Wasn't another one of the headlines like Goofy not like he was in a scandal?
Yeah,
or
it was
something,
like
and they cleared
Goofy
his
found
name?
not guilty for whatever.
Yeah.
And also Valiant found missing trio of kids, Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Oh my God, they went missing.
Also, one of the pictures of Valiant in his office was like him and his brother with a clown, and it said "On to his dad at Barnum and Bailey Circus."
Yeah.
Yes.
so
So
I
their
guess his
dad was a
dad
clown.
His dad was a clown,
Which is
and they
super
were
cool.
they were kids, so they went on
Tour
with
the
him.
Barnum and Bailey's.
Then they like went into like the police academy.
Yeah, they both
they
had
were
like
wearing
those
clown
rubber
noses.
noses.
Yeah,
on.
and then they were like kick them out. Obviously, they became PIs.
Hilarious.
detectives.
I
But
like
you know
that.
what's really interesting because I think this movie was supposed to have been set in 1947, but
Yes.
so many of the things that are in the movie were actually created after 47.
Yes.
So a lot of people are like, well, it's not that accurate. But I think it's really cool because it's already like you have to suspend your disbelief so hard
yeah,
to
so
watch
much.
this movie that it's almost like the audiences wanted to see all their favorite characters in it.
Yeah.
Right.
And really the only characters like on the Warner Brothers side that we didn't see are like Tom and Jerry and Popeye.
True.
But so many of the other ones were there.
So many, like at the end when it's
when they all run in.
is it
all
Porky
come in.
Pig at the
Yes.
end?
Yes.
And Tinkerbell kind
That's
of
right.
do
They
the
do the
send-off.
send off.
I really
How
liked
funny.
that.
Well, and that was cute too because did you hear him say like, "Oh, that sounds good."
That's good. I'm going to
Yes.
use that.
And then he like quote unquote is supposed to use it in the future for his own cartoons.
I really liked that a
Yes.
lot.
That's
Yeah,
really
that was a
cute.
very good one.
Good stuff.
One of the last things I kind of wanted to talk about. I know, obviously, we're not going to talk about Jessica Rabbit that much till the after show. But
She
I
was fun.
Want to talk about the
fun.
fact that the relationship between Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit has to be one of the cutest things I've ever seen. Like, she really loves him.
It's
At
adorable.
the end, when she's like, "My hero," and she's like so worried about him. I just gotta find my honey bunny. Like, their relationship is so cute.
It's
to
very
me.
interesting because in the
Yes.
beginning of the movie, they literally set it up as like, oh well, Jessica's like cheating on Roger, playing patty cake
Literal patty cake.
So
with
funny.
this guy, and so he's heartbroken about it, and the whole time you're like, okay, well, I don't understand how Jessica could be with Roger in the first place.
Yeah, no.
But then at the end, when they're actually together and you see them, and she's just like, he makes me laugh. What am I gonna say?
Hey, babe, you make me laugh.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Andre, that means you want to know who you are.
Oh, I'm Jessica Rabbit. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
You're
I'm,
welcome.
I'm a little too
Roger.
short for that, but it's fine.
Hey, you can pull off the
I'll
other
do my own thing.
things.
Yeah, I thought that their relationship was so cute.
It was very
Yes.
cute.
I
Lovey
like
dovey.
actually really liked
And
that.
that she was not bad in the least.
No.
Like there was
No.
nothing. Well,
She's not a bad person.
no. She
She
really
got
was,
set up.
She
you
was
know?
doing what she
set
felt
up.
like she had to do to keep Roger's career afloat, and then
Yeah.
she got caught up. So
Yeah, that line that she says that I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way. That's from the book.
And that's
Hilarious.
straight up like the greatest description of Jessica Rabbit. It's
Yeah.
true. She's not bad. She's just drawn that way. Poor thing.
poor thing.
It's not her
Poor-
fault. It's discrimination. So funny. I love that.
All right, is it time for some ratings?
I think so.
Okay. Ratings. Oh, so this movie did extremely well. It had the highest budget for any movie in 1988. It cost $70 million to make.
Whoa.
And then I
Don't
think,
doubt it.
and
I
then
do not doubt it.
It also did the best in 1988. I think it made like
Did it win any
$150
awards?
million dollars, something like that.
Wow.
Did it win any awards? I don't have that information
Oh, sorry.
directly available to me at this point in time.
What was it?
Oh, it won 3 Oscars.
3 Oscars.
Yes. So it won for best film editing, best effects with sound editing, and best effects for visual effects. Which
Good.
Well, there you go. I
It
mean,
should.
those are
All
some
set.
good.
And the head animator Richard Williams, he won a Special Achievement Award.
Nice. What was its score on Rotten Tomatoes?
This got a 97% on
Wow.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Dang!
Yeah, people loved this movie. when it came
Ugh,
out.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
It's totally an 80s movie to me, too. Like, granted, yes, it's set in 47, but
Right.
it's an 80s movie to
Nah,
me.
it's pretty 80s.
Pretty
Well, and I
80s.
think that's what I was saying earlier, how it's supposed to be in the 40s, but it's so reminiscent of the time
It's an
period.
80s movie,
Right,
and I
yes.
love 80s movies, so,
yeah,
you know.
and it's hilarious. Yeah,
Cool.
I love this movie. I'm going to give it a 9.0. I don't know why I said 9.0. I'm giving it a 9.
I was waiting for like the point
9.0.
something.
I'm giving it a 9. It's hilarious. It's probably one of the funniest Disney movies that we've watched, and I love Roger. He's very inspiring to me as a comedian.
I actually like that. Can you, like, please put that in your set
Yes,
tonight?
I'll put that in something. And then I like Eddie's whole arc through the movie, where
Oh,
he's a
it's
curmudgeon
great.
in the beginning. He's
Yes.
broke.
Eddie Valiant.
He can't keep up his relationship with Dolores.
Oh,
Dolores!
And then
love her.
By the end,
She's
he's
a realist.
being funny again, and he loves all the tunes. And he and Dolores are gonna go to the beach again, and it's great.
That's one of my favorite scenes is the end when he starts singing
Mhm.
in the factory. That's probably it's so funny.
Yes.
And he's actually pretty like agile and
Right,
can
yeah.
sing. I was like, what?
It was actually very comical.
He did a very good job.
Yeah, he did do a good job.
Bob Hoskins.
What about you, Lou?
Haskins.
I will give it a 8.5.
8.5.
It was a good movie. It was a very good movie. Roger, as much of an idiot as he was, really made me laugh. He literally was like an idiot.
Luis, his only dream in life was to make you laugh, and he did it. That was his whole passion. Laughter. I'm going to give this movie also an 8.5. It's a very good movie. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. My only disconnect was I don't know anything about Looney Tunes and Warner Brothers things. And the whole intro scene I absolutely despised. Like, as soon as we started it, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to watch this movie at all anymore. So that's like a very big disconnect for me. I just am not into those kind of cartoons. But do I appreciate it for what it's worth now? Yes. 8.5, good movie. Would I watch it again? Yes. Emily.
I'm gonna give it a 9 because I watched it twice in 1 week,
Yeah.
and it was just as funny the second time as it was the first time.
So comical.
I can say I freaking love this movie.
Yeah.
It hits on so many levels. It's funny. There's great character development. The plot is actually pretty good.
It
Really
is.
I mean, Doom is obviously a bad dude, but like, did you think that he was the one going around killing like the animators and stuff? Not really.
No.
You know? And you want to know more about these characters. Like, I really want to know why, Valiant is so curmudgeon-y, and I want to know, like,
Right.
is he gonna end up with Dolores, and
Yeah.
and how is this all gonna work out? So I think if you can like catch me on all of those angles at once, Like that
Right.
shows the quality of this movie.
agree.
Then you win.
This was a good movie.
Straight up. Yes.
Good pick, Andre.
Who Framed
Good for you.
Roger Rabbit? Yes, I'm glad that there was some Disney characters
So
in
this
this movie.
this
So
movie
you
is
can
not.
choose
Oh, this movie's not in Luis's top 5 though.
Not
Hey,
top
which
5.
one did you boot, by the way?
Oh, let's talk about that
Oh,
really
yeah, that's
quickly.
right.
So, he said, you guys talk about it. So thank you so much for Rochelle, who went and found all of Luis's top 5 Disney movies so that we could go through and, well, pretty much so he could kick one out because he wants
Give
to
one
put,
the eject.
give one the ejection seat because he wants to be able to put in, which movie?
What did we watch last week?
Ratatouille.
Oh, I was going to say Peter Pan.
Ratatouille.
He wants to put Ratatouille in his top 5. So because she was the first person to comment on our Instagram post correctly, she gets an actually really fun prize that I want to keep for myself.
Yay,
That's
Rochelle! Way to go, Luis. Do you know what movie you're gonna like kick the curb?
Yeah.
So
this
tell us the
is,
top 5.
This is a pretty easy one.
So tell us what the top 5 were.
Moana, Pocahontas, Wreck-It Ralph, The Princess and the Frog, and The Good Dinosaur.
Ooh, which one are you gonna give the boot?
Oh, that's an easy
Here
one.
we go.
And how's it easy if it's in your top 5?
Oh, well, because I just looked at the top 5 and thought about the one I liked the least.
All
Boom.
right.
Moana
Bottom
is
5.
out.
What?
Yes,
Moana
Moana
is
is out.
out.
I don't agree with that at all. You need to kick the good dinosaur
It's
out.
not your top 5.
That's why it's mine.
It's Luis's top 5.
Wait, you want to know
Not
what the
yours.
funniest part is? I'm going to throw him under the bus. I'm pretty sure when we had this conversation a couple days ago, he's like, Wreck-It Ralph's out.
Well, again, I forgot I had Moana.
This
there.
just goes to show, though, that it's so hard to necessarily pick a top 5
Oh,
Disney movie
100%.
because nobody does it like Disney does.
Oh,
Like,
no.
Right.
That's why we're here.
Well,
right?
and I think we talked about how like they keep one-upping themselves, and you can love something, and then the next movie that comes out, you're like, wow, it's not so much that you're always saying like it's better, but they never really do they flop. So
Right.
it's not like, wow, that's definitely my
Yes.
low 5.
Yeah.
Definitely. So shout out to Rochelle. Thanks for listening to us. You're going to
Yes,
have
thanks
a
for voting.
very nice prize coming your way. I want to give another shout out to a listener who reached out to me. Her name is Stephanie Osario. She also grew up in Ceres, which is the town we grew up in. And apparently we went to the same gymnastics studio when we were kids.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's a small world after all.
It's a pretty small world because
It's a small world.
she went to high school with me and
after
Emily.
She
So
now
now you-
knows 3 out of the 4.
You just need to meet Luis, and then we can all be a happy family. There you go.
That'd
Come
be
hang out
easy
with
if I
us.
was an enigma.
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
he's a mystery man.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
honestly-
apparently you don't get to meet him.
Man, a few words.
I just feel like this podcast has really brought a lot of people together so far. It's brought all of us 4 together every week. Not like we wouldn't have seen each other anyway, but, you know. So we're happy you guys are enjoying it as much as we do. And we have a Patreon
Yes,
supporter.
we appreciate you all. And we appreciate those of you who have contributed to us on Patreon,
Yeah.
which you can do by going to patreon.com/the Walt Vault. And for as little as $1 a month, you can be a patron and get access to our after show called The Crack in the Vault.
You're going to want to hear it. Trust me. We're getting ready to film this right
This
now.
is the show where we're gonna talk a little bit
Record it.
more adulty about all these Disney movies, and we're gonna start with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And you know, if we get enough patron subscribers, maybe we'll go back and do some of the older movies that we've done before, and some other stuff.
But, you know, it's really fun to be starting with this one because, like we talked about, this movie has so many adult themes and so many, like, little tidbits where you're like, ooh, that was a little raunchy, or, oh, my gosh, that was, you know, like, cheeky.
Yeah,
So it's
very
funny to kind of point those out where when you were a kid, totally went over your head. Now as an adult, I'm like, I can't believe they put that in the movie.
Right.
Lots of things went over
know?
our head as kids.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So this is a great movie to start off that, you know,
was-
super exclusive,
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yes,
We're super
Crack in the
excited.
Vault.
Super excited about it.
the exclusive Crack in the Vault podcast. So go to patreon.com/the Walt Vault, become a patron. If you subscribe with $5 or more, we'll even send you a little gift in the mail.
Get gifties.
You get gifts. So come on and support us because, you know, we need to keep the lights on in this place. The Walt Vault, it's dark in here.
There's literally
Oh my
no
God.
lights on right
You know?
There really isn't any
There's
lights
no
on in
lights.
this house right now. That's fine.
Please help us out. You guys, be
Wait,
sure.
can I get a
yes.
drum roll so we can announce next week's movie?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Before
still
we-
laughing
before
because
we
there's
sign
literally
off.
no lights on in here.
No lights. movie is the Goofy movie.
The Goofy movie.
Not the extremely Goofy movie.
No.
Just
the
Goofy movie.
The first one. Yeah.
Can you sing the
Animated,
song, please?
About Goofy.
Come on.
How does it go?
Stand out.
Above
the
the crowd,
crowd.
even if it gotta shout out loud. Tonight's the only place to see. I gotta stand out. And you and me. Guys, tune in next week for a lot more singing like that because I freaking love the Goofy movie.
My favorite part of this whole thing is right before, like probably 2 months before we started actually recording the Walt Vault. Andre said something about wanting to watch the Goofy movie, and we were all on board. So we literally rented the Goofy movie and then the extremely Goofy movie right after.
We watched it in the same night.
We watched it all at the same time. We were singing. We were reminiscing. It was so funny.
And
So
now we get to do it again.
so now we get to go through
For
and watch it
Andre's
again.
birthday.
Yes.
Woo!
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday,
Yeah, so come
Andre.
check us out next week. We're going to watch the Goofy movie. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Instagram is the hot one. We are at the Walt Vault Pod. Find us there. Vote on all the stuff. Comment on the episodes. Comment on all of our posts. You can also follow us on Twitter on at the Walt Vault Pod, or like us on Facebook at the Walt Vault Pod. And you can send us a message on any of these social media platforms, and we'll check it out and possibly read it on the show. You can also send us an email at contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. I mentioned before, you can also follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/The Walt Vault. Give us $1. We'll love you for it forever. We also want you to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, go to iTunes and subscribe. We're also available on YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play. And we want you to leave us reviews, please, because that helps people find the show and help us love everyone a little bit more. You guys, that's it for now. The vault is now closed. Bye.